Don't forget to unmute.
See.
Your life.
Yep.
All right. All right, guys. Welcome to Wario World. Start off with a countdown. So, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, go. So this game is the best Wario game of all times. I ran it last year at SGDQ. It was interesting. So with this category though, unlike my run at SGDQ, we're going to be getting everything. That's red jewels, every single statue piece, all the red jewels, spritlings, boss medals. It's insanity. This game's tech is mostly just skill. 100% has a little bit of randomness to it compared to its any percent category. And I really hope I don't forget anything, because I on occasion have had that happen. The general principle with how many objects you need to collect. There's 8 statue pieces. There's 8 red jewel pieces. Pretty much 8 of everything. If you do mess up anything in this category, you tend to get punished pretty bad for it. And I've been asked this a few dozen times why we collect the spritlings in particular. The way the category was defined was the pause menu screen. It keeps track of everything you've collected. So all the things I listed, it keeps track of it. And I was gonna do the Japanese version because people like, why don't you just run the Japanese version? As you know, a little bit better that category is for its end game. It's slower in a speedrun. It's not because of text, it's just because they patched out a couple of glitches you can do. So, like, the end game there would be faster in Japanese. But you lose out on about, I think it's like up to almost about a minute maybe. So everyone just always kind of goes, wow, that's lame. Yeah, so you gotta speedrun the lame version of the game for its final boss. The doors on the ground, there's 4 wooden doors and then 8 steel doors, or sky doors I call them. The difference between the two is that a wooden door is a ground-based sublevel, and then the metal doors are up air platforming. And we do get a couple of auto-scrollers in some of these sublevels. And like my any percent run, you've got to do all the same exact kind of stunts and tricks in them, plus more. It doesn't get super interesting until the next level. Because next level introduces basically what you're going to be putting up with for the rest of the game. Oh, that's not good. I still missed it. Dude, what's happening? Okay, well, that's bad. So that strat, it saves like 3 seconds as opposed to doing it the intended way. And I messed that up pretty bad. Could be worse. Trust me, it could be a lot worse. Because there's a couple of segments of late game that's brutal and punishing, and it makes you want to just never play this game again, so... And I don't think I mentioned the world record time. I have it at 1:15:17. I haven't beaten it in about almost, I think, 3 years now. I've come close, but in-game always gets me. The reason we leave the level, the boss early, by pausing and leaving, is because the game instantly saves and records the boss medal that appears on screen. And it saves like 15 seconds. Although, because you sit through a cutscene. Alright, Greenhorn Ruins. It's a lot of fun. Anything can go wrong here. Some of the movement I do may seem kind of weird. If I do it, I'll try to bring it up. Basically, I'll do some weird movement where it doesn't, like, it makes no sense why I do it. But usually it's because I'm skipping, like, a crystal entity or something. Which I haven't come across one yet, so... When I do that, I'll bring it up. So, with technical movement and speed, I like to compare it with Wario Land 4. Every step of the way. And since we fell into this pit, the pits are random to get out of. So they're the worst thing in this game. I'm going to leave that there for a moment. Later on in the game, those pit things down there get a lot worse and they kill a lot of time. By World 3, they get real bad. Funny thing about Wario's dash jumping, it has a strange momentum to it, where if you dash jump, you might slow down, or you may not be able to quite reach the other end of a platform. It's, as far as I know, it's extremely precise with its frames. It's all frame dependent. His dashing itself has like 30-something frames to it, and half those frames repeat. I don't know, it's weird. But each one of those frames will determine if when you jump, how far you'll go. Alright, Battle Ring. I'll baby it just a little bit. This strat saves us a minute. Grabbing ledges, though, it may seem simple enough, but Wario there's a glitch, another glitch in the game, a bad one, where when you're ledge grabbing, Wario can have the tendency to just let go and drop off. So there, if Wario had let go, I would have fell in the pit, but the game would have thrown me into that arena. So imagine wasting 15 seconds and then an additional 60. And there's 9 arenas in this game. In any percent, you skip 8 out of 9. In 100%, it is 7 out of 9. There's one arena that's... You can still kind of skip it. It's super hard, though, and it's random. You have to rely on the luck to do it. And you have to go into that particular arena in this category because of a statue piece they decided to put inside of one. And that was a super jump, but I'll get into that later. Alright, I gotta have auto on this one. Now it's below me. Alright. Yeah, it's funny thing with this sub-level, people have told me when they've done that sub-level, they don't understand why it's designed the way it is. The game has surround sound. I think they just wanted to showcase the sounds, the sound effects. So they want you to just listen to find all the red crystal and the golden statue piece. But every time you go into that sub-level, it is random. And we're already up to the boss. This guy is kind of interesting to deal with a little bit. Because during the last 3 cycles, you have a chance... I missed him. You have a chance to hit him and to damage him right away without him doing this attack. Oh yeah, it says the pattern's a little different now because of it. Like that. It wasn't horrible, other than the pit. But if you can get all 3 cycles well, you save 12, 15 seconds, if done right. That I would have only saved half. So Dino Mighty, every world has an end boss. And oh boy, Dino Mighty is an interesting creature. And I've asked this question on my stream a few dozen times. Is Dino Mighty a boy? A girl? Something else? An it? I don't know. I think in the manual of the game, or the instruction book, it says it's a her. But, yeah, I don't believe it. Anyway. The mechanic with this boss is you gotta knock out Dino, hit her head because of her hitbox. Her hitbox and her head is like enormous. But if you time it right, you can instantly just knock her out. And just like the other bosses, just leave when they scream. And the game will give you the key, so. Okay, World 2. I hate World 2. I hate it really bad. The first level coming up for World 2 is okay. But it's the level after that. The Clown Circus World, Monkey Circus. It's the longest level I think in this category, and it's boring. I mean, it's fun. It's just long. So Horror Manor, we start to use super jumps, and that super jump trick it's a perfect frame trick. Pause buffering helps it a little bit to do. And the way it works, for some weird reason, basically you're merging 2 jumps into one. And you have this 1 frame window to enable it. But when you unpause, you have to immediately press and hold the A button again to get your height, which is a 3 frame window. And each one of those frames, you know, determines how high you go. The earlier, the better. And you can't skip that mini hand boss, you can't. I've tried every possible method, and I've even tried cheat codes, you just can't. Alright, so, when I said about weird movement, like here, there's a crystal entity, it's like a mini-boss creature, that sits in the middle of nowhere. And it takes about 30 seconds to kill. And they're pretty much scattered all over the place. I think there's usually up to 2 per level. So a super jump here saved us, I think it's like 30 seconds. Because you have to find another skeleton hand. Ah. It is possible to do that sub-level like 2 seconds faster by taking the middle route and super jumping. But the movement afterwards just kind of stinks because of the moving platforms. So, like I was talking about with the crystal entities, there's another one right here. If you sit here and hug this wall. Boom. Wow, you skipped a crystal entity. It was so hard. Funny thing with this category, though. When this game was first being routed, which was way back in 2006, only one person was trying to route it. They got halfway through the game with the routing. And it pretty much, they stopped working on it. And nobody else wanted to touch this category. Until I did. I had to finish routing it and then reroute it. Wait a second. Some more super jumping stuff. Okay. Oh, well, also, you can unbuffer the super jumps. The only problem with doing it that way, you have to mash really, really fast, but you have to press and hold it at the same time. And the other problem you'll have is that, okay. Well, I forgot what I was talking about. Cool. I tend to focus more on the super jumps than anything else in the run. Also, these things hit boxes. I don't understand why they're so enormous as they are. Wasn't even near those electrical wire things. Oh, the unbuffered super jumps. So, like I was saying with them, we had to press and hold it at an awkward time. The problem with them is that getting the height out of them is insane. You're more likely to get a super bad super jump that won't do anything for you. And you saw me earlier trying to clip into these boss doors. Basically, the game loading zones. The boss loading zone does not exist until the last crystal is being placed, and then it exists. And for whatever reason, you can go through it on the corner. I mean, the object the statue thing is sitting on is some weird shaped circle. I make it sound more complicated than it is. Basically, you clip through on a corner of this circle that you stand on. Why and how and why that's possible is beyond me. And this boss, he's fun. He's basically standard stuff. Really, the only thing to that boss was the pillars. For the last cycle, when they respawn, they actually can be delayed. And they won't spawn back in time. Otherwise, it's just a straightforward fight. Okay, Wonky Circus. I hate this level. And it's made me hate clowns. Even though Wario is kind of a clown. What makes Wonky Circus bad is that the sub-levels are kind of long, boring. The level itself is just kind of long. There's hard stuff, and you have to sit in that arena and do nothing. This level has one of the arenas you cannot skip. So get ready, guys, because in a little while we'll be sitting around for about 60 seconds. Yay, right? It's too bad, too, because it really throws off, you know, you're all pumped up, ready to speedrun, you know, doing super well, then you gotta take a 60-second break. An intense platforming game. Like, you know, when you're playing like a speedrunning an RPG or something, you know, you gotta wait through cutscenes and stuff, but you're not doing this crazy speedrunning platforming stuff. So those breaks are nice, but in a game like this, it's just, yeah, it throws you off pretty bad. And this sub-level is pretty much another auto-scroller. I've tried a few things to kind of speed it up, like when it's lifting the super jump and stuff, but I tend to just kind of fall off regardless. You super jump, you're more likely to actually miss the platform entirely. And do not step in the middle of this platform or this middle area. If you do, you have to fight one of those crystal entities. I do fight one though. I do fight one on purpose. Because there's a treasure box that's gonna be way up in a corner, and you can skip the crystal entity, but the super jumps have to be perfect. You got to double back on them. And I've questioned it tons of times if it's actually worth it or not because of how difficult it is. I want to say it kind of really isn't. Okay, that was weird. I had a brain fart for a moment. I didn't think about this treasure chest. Could be worse. It could still be worse. Let's see. Let's see. More Wario World history could I possibly talk about? So I've been speedrunning this game, and I mean pretty much only this game 95% of the time for about 5 years now. It's been a bumpy road. When I was talking about Super Jump, before Super Jump was ever a thing, there was one user by the name of Sonic Backer who used it in one of his tasks for the game. He did like 1 or 2 levels and he was doing super crazy jumps. None of us knew how he did that at all. So, one day, I decided to talk to Velaxer. If anyone knows who he is, he's pretty much the Wario guy who breaks all the land games, Wario land games. I told him, I said, hey, it's like, I will give you $5 if you can figure out how to super jump for us outside of tasks. So, 2 days later, guess what happens? Comes back, posts a video to me, he's like, here's your super jump. When the thing of it is that we wondered about that for about at least a year and a half. And I kept my promise. I gave him his $5 for that. We all freaked out though when he posted that video. Shout outs to him. Alright, so this is our 60-second break. There is one small thing you can do. You can throw these pillars outside the arena. And you can hit one of the buttons out in the distance. It saves about 5 seconds if you can actually hit one. Half the time, I never really do them. Because when Wario throws objects, just kind of similar to his dashing, it's frame dependent. So he might throw it super fast or too slow, or when the object is flying through the air, it might kind of angle itself so it's not possible. Also, this clown will run away from us. And there's nothing you can do to speed this up. It's timed. I mentioned I ran this game at SGDQ. The game was run one other time before then. A long while back now. 2013 of SGDQ. Omega Galax ran it. Come on, Wario. Super jump. And during that time period, I didn't have world record or anything yet. I was still working myself up. Omega, man. So during one of his little practice run or regular runs, he forgot a red jewel. And ever since that day, he's become the meme that he's the meme that forgot the red jewel. Because even when he was at SGDQ, he had to say it. He had to shout me out and say, "It's like, don't worry, Dangerless, I won't forget the red jewel." It was an interesting day. This sublevel is tons of fun. Yep, I ain't gonna make it. I know the game tells you when you collect everything, a medal pops up on the screen. But if you ever do get curious, another way to tell if you forgot something in a sub-level, it'll just stop glowing. So this boss, Clown Around, he's one of 2 pretty much scripted bosses. There's no way to really speed him up, other than hitting him as fast as possible. His last 2 cycles, though, do get a little bit more switched up. Well, when he gets down or to that point, I'll explain it a little bit more. basically Wario's head bash carries over, does double damage on certain enemies, and it can, it does double damage, and it can cause damage to be carried over, basically. So from this point now onwards, what I'm going to do is pretty much, I'll just do a head bash on him instead of 2 jabs or even one jab. Because he runs away. Basically, this saves us 2 jabs, so it saves a second, pretty much, per cycle. So 4 seconds over time. You know, let me tell you, these heads, you better punch them off. Because they will mess you up. Okay, we're done with that nasty, ugly looking level. Which, by the way, is not even close to being the hardest levels in the game. So, this world boss is going to be Dual Dragon. And like Clown Around, he's scripted. Basically, the only way you save time here is how fast you enter this door and how fast you leave. Basically, you can't directly hurt these enemies, so you're just trying to have them damage one another. Because Wario's obviously not buff enough, as you can tell. And he's not random. You can change up the pattern if you want to, but by doing that, it causes it to be slower. The default pattern to this guy is what you always want to use, or always want to set up and do. Oh, and it's important to rotate the camera off the flames, because the game will lag on them. Okay, perfect. That was awesome. Okay, I said before, you leave when the boss screams. Well, for world bosses, there's one special frame rule. No, it's not a frame rule, but it's a special frame. It's the frame before they scream. You can leave, and the game will give you the key. What makes that really awkward, though, it's hard. You can't really time it. There's no indication. But if you get it, hey, you saved a frame. So World 3. This world puts off a lot of speedrunners in any category. For 100%, this level basically introduces backtracking. Not lots of it, but enough to kind of just be like, is it over yet? Some of the tech here is kind of interesting, though. Wario's able to reach platforms for some reason, but yet he can reach platforms and grab a ledge that does not exist. And I do not know why. But it's only on certain ledges. He can grab them, even if there is no ledge. But there is a catch to that. He will let go of those kinds of ledges immediately. So you've got to immediately just press the dang button. Angler Mangler. Quick, cool strat you can do here. If you stand a little bit above his shadow and do a 3.8 pile drive, and then don't move, and don't press like the B button or R button, the enemy never dies. And it just gets stuck, and it keeps hitting this fish over and over and over again. It saves a little bit of time from having to, you know, wait for the snowmen to respawn and stuff. I don't like these parts. Okay, there's 2 golden statue pieces they put on those slides, like slide like that. It's very easy to miss those. But when I was talking about Wario World's history from like 2006, who was routing this game, his name was Strangeness. He had a setup to get those without too much trouble. Basically, he just looked at the ground and used something on the ground as a reference where Wario should stand, so you can never miss them. Alright, this arena skip I could mess up on. I usually do, so I'm making no promises that I'm gonna skip this. Okay, that didn't work. I didn't get it. So, the same thing happened to me at SGDQ. So this arena is really tricky to skip. You have to stand on the edge of, I don't know what they are, these crystal things. Wario, there's two ways you can go about skipping this. I always go the super jump route as a safety backup, because if I mess up the super jump, well, I have a backup after that where I can, if I'm facing the right angle and direction, Wario can actually hit the wall for about 2 frames. You'll be able to hit the wall and jump out. Break out of your dash jump. But I didn't face the right direction here, so I ended up just sliding into the arena. I would say this arena is probably the hardest to skip overall in both categories. So these enemy jar things, they're random, and I've lost about 35 seconds on them before. That's not even the most I've lost time on an enemy spawner jar. I've lost up to about 1.5 minutes waiting for a red snowman to come out of that thing. But the thing of it is, it happens so rarely like that there's still no reason why you wouldn't use the red snowman from one of those enemy spawn jar things. Okay, this sub-level usually puts me off, so I gotta focus just a little bit on it. Okay. It's always scary to do that. Alright, so this is the part where we gotta start. Introduces the backtracking from this button. Ooh, yeah, that scared me. The reason I do use that turtle, though, instead of that Wario statue head to hit that button out in the distance, is because Wario can pick up objects that are smaller than him a lot faster, and he can throw them a lot faster as well. Okay. That button, every time. For some reason, Wario's right hand can hit that button, but his left hand can't. Ah, almost. That would have been slick. I call it the comet strat. Basically, if you can position yourself just right, you can fall directly onto the spriteling. Because it's cool. Come on, give me it. Thank you. No. Alright. This sub-level, I haven't found a real proper setup for it, so I tend to just do it the intended way. One of the reasons is because of how Wario's momentum works when he, you know, dash jumps and stuff. Usually he just never really makes it. Like, your chances of making it are really, really, really slim. I mean, you'd save, like, 1.5 seconds if you could get this strat I didn't do, but no, you'll fail. You will, I promise. Oh, shout outs to that arena, by the way. That was an arena skip. I hope nobody missed that. That was the hardest skip in the game. Funny thing with this angler mangler mini boss. Instead of 3 hits, he takes 5. But I do change it up on his last cycle. Okay, that's 2 hits. Gotta keep track. Basically, for the last hit, I'm going to take a snowman to finish him off. And I save about a second from doing that. Okay. I mean, this level though, overall, I mean, it's okay. It's interesting. It's more about it's a vertical kind of level. And I have to bring this up. Anyone who plays this game, I've heard people complain on occasion, like they didn't know what to do, like how to open a door or something. Guys, you guys know that the Spritlings do give tips, right? The Spritlings explain basically everything you need to know. From boss tips to Wario's moveset. So this boss, man. Basically, it's all about these little ball things. Hey, is he gonna spawn 2? No, okay. I'll push him. I gotta bring him closer. On occasion, he can spawn an extra ball, and if you juggle the balls around, man, that sounds bad. That's not how I mean it, guys. You can skip this last cycle and save about 8 additional seconds, but it's random as crap, and I've only had it happen twice. I think my any percent run actually does get it. Nobody better be taking what I said out of context. Beanstalk Way is a fun level in my opinion. Aside of the little segment you got to do with the backtracking, I find it probably one of the most fun levels in the game. Oh, dude, that's no good. The bird blocked me. Funny thing about birds, though, in any Wario game, they tend to be very trolly enemies. So, a cool strat that I did there, if you dash and punch at the same time, Wario will be able to travel in the air longer, which allows him to reach unreachable platforms or even grab onto ledges you usually can't reach. And it's used fairly often. So now we gotta backtrack for a statue piece and that yellow button switch thing. Alright, I'm only gonna try this once, because I never get this, but... yeah, okay, never mind. Okay, so there's a weird... I've never understood why I can get this, and sometimes I can. For some reason, when you pile drive with an enemy, for that statue piece, Wario, you know, he goes higher up in the air, right? On occasion, he can reach it, but on the off occasion, he can't. My conclusion, the reason why he can't sometimes reach it, is because the golden statue piece is moving up and down. And usually, if he can't reach it, well, that's unlucky timing for you, because that means it was moving upwards. Oh no, give me the bird, please. Do not let me stay here. Okay. Yeah, that little segment's pretty bad because enemies slow you way down. They make you drop what's in your hand. And I mentioned there was one other arena you can't skip because of a golden statue piece. That would be right here. So the only way you can get out of this arena, you've got to have a bird grab you. And hope that he throws you up on the above platform. And if you get on the above platform, you've got to do a super jump over an invisible wall. Let's see if I get up here. Okay, that's cool. Okay, now I need an enemy. That's awesome to get in this marathon. I'm not gonna lie. I only get that like once in a blue moon. So I saved at least 20 seconds. Take note, guys. You may never ever see that again. Oh no. Okay, I still got it. It's a holiday miracle. Yeah, so those birds are very, very random. In their movement, in the direction they'll throw you. It's tedious. But getting up there, man, I'm not gonna let this die now. I'm just gonna talk about this for the rest of the stream. But the part where you got to super jump, well, you're still within the boundaries of the arena. But because you're high enough, you can actually super jump over the wall. On the left side, you can't get over the one on the right side. And that means you have to deactivate the arena, so you enter a sub door. Oh no. Okay, that works. If you can do it really well and fast enough, I think that has the potential to save up to 30 seconds. The reason it doesn't save more is because of all the setup it takes. Oh, hey, you get it? That's awesome. Now if I could only get that in my actual speedruns. Kappa. This little segment right here, you can super jump up to the platform up here, but kind of risky because if you mess up, obviously you drop all the way back down. But the super jumping would save you potentially 4 or 5 seconds. Back to back. You gotta do them back to back. So this acorn tree. Funny thing I should mention. Now it is possible to skip this tree, but let me tell you, it's pretty much not worth it. Because the movement to skip it in super jumping is next to impossible. Because you gotta basically get inside this arena and not trigger it to skip it. Okay. And we'll be backtracking here in a minute. Or here in a second anyway, after this sub door. Oh no, I jumped too soon. I assume if you were like a super amazing with super jumps right here and you could unbuffer them, you wouldn't have to use those platforms. Whoa, what? What? Are you kidding me? Dude, well, I mean, it's fine. Because even if you can't super jump, you can use this pit to get thrown back to the other side of the level. It's just the pit is random. And it looks like it's going to be the last one in the box. Pretty much it was. See? So. The reason we backtrack is because that blue switch I hit is all the way back here. Right here. I also don't get this one. Just so I can get them back to back faster. In the middle of this flower is a crystal entity. Thought I'd just mention that. Yeah, we skipped this tree. We aren't gonna fight it. Nobody wants to fight bosses anyway. Let me out, please. Thank you. But we will have to super jump again because of an invisible barrier. That's caused by the tree. We got it. We got it. We're good. Alright, so, the spider. The spider's the hardest boss. Because you gotta stun lock him on every single cycle. With timed hits. And, I'd never mentioned this, but every boss, every time they lose health, their AI gets faster and faster per cycle. Now, I do 7 jabs and a head bash. That does 7 damage points plus 3. The 3 is from a head bash. 4, 5, 6, 7. I always count for this. Five, 6, 7. If you mess this strat up, you lose 30 seconds. 5, 6, 7. Okay, we got it. So 30-second time saver, guys. The original strat used to take about a minute and a half for that boss. So I optimized it like crazy. Alright guys, this is the best boss in the game though. Get ready you guys, come on. Boner Pig. Well, actually, his name is Red Brief Jays, but he's Boner Pig because this boss always has a boner, and I'm not making it up. He does. I mean, technically, he's not a pig either. He's a stern, but whatever. Just listen to me. You guys can see it just as much as I do. Basically, with this fight, Wario cannot directly hurt Red J at all. Wario uses your moveset. Or Red J uses, yeah, Wario's moveset. Basically, he's just the tougher version of Wario. And he's got a boner. Basically, saving time here is all about the lag. You've got to control the lag as much as possible. Because of all the special effects with the fire and fumes. And try not to let him hit you when he's dashing. Oh no, that lag. One strat we do is take a hit here, just to skip that animation. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 5. So guess what, guys? We're more than halfway done. The sad part, though, is that World 4 is the hardest world in 100%. Mirror Mansion is a nightmare, but that's still... Mirror Mansion is not the hardest level in the game. In Pecan Sands, the level that's after this one, I will attempt the strat once there, but you guys don't know what true difficulty is. So this level, oh my goodness. It's filled with super jump after super jump in a lot of places. Oh cool, I got the block luck. And by the way, these little puzzle segments like this are random. But you want to hope that the luck is where the red jewel spawns. I feel like I've talked more about the randomness of the game than I have anything. But hey, you know, it's important to know about it. So count super jumps, okay guys? That was one super jump so far. I'm debating right now if I want to actually do the blind skip. If I do the blind skip and I can do it well, I save 5 seconds. But it's super hard. I'll go for it. Oh, come on, Wario. Alright, let's go. We're doing this blind. Now, because that boss is active, the camera's busted right now. Oh, no! I shouldn't have done that. No. We might still be fine. Wait a minute. Yes! Okay, that's fine. Cool. In any percent, you actually have to travel through the level. Like that. Until you reach one of the later sub-doors. I missed that. I actually have never attempted that in 100%. I'm never brave enough. Yeah, I was thinking of any percent when I did that. I was like, yeah, I'm just gonna go for it. And then I'm like, oh, wait a minute. This is 100%. But it's all good. It's a lot better than doing it in any percent. I'll say that. In any percent, you have to do 2 super jumps blind. So you are restricted by sounds. The auto cue for Wario's super jumps is pretty weird too. Okay, this arena skip is really picky. There we go. There's this little spot Wario can slip out of. So now we get this awesome music. Alright. Hopefully you guys have been keeping count of the super jumps. And just for the record, when you deactivate an arena, don't walk back into it, because it'll come back. Now, I imagine by now you guys would be like, the question of all questions, where is the 100% task of this game? Just imagine all the crazy stuff it could do in movement. For those gates, though, you don't have to super jump over them, actually. I super jump over them because it saves about 1.5 seconds. Hey, every second counts. Nice. It's almost like the super jump is intended for this game. Also, guess what? All the textures are deloaded when that boss spawns. This level is pretty cool, though. It's hard, but, you know, it's still kind of cool. But we're almost done with it now. But the boss, though, Mean MC, he is, I hate him. I mean, he's not hard, he's just, I don't like him. He's random, he's a random boss to deal with. Basically, with this boss, you want him to twirl his cane. It skips him doing an attack cycle. The ideal RNG with this guy you want is 3 out of 5. Oh yeah, the cups he goes into, they get faster. So if you guys can't keep up with it, well, I guess all I can say is you guys may need to get some extra parrot. You may need another set of eyes. Because the 5th cycle on this guy... Wow, dude! I did that. The 5th cycle on this guy gets faster. He's super fast. And if you drop this guy from under a cup, that's a lesson to be learned because the final boss, if you drop him, you lose about as much time. Which is, well, 15, well, I don't think that much, like 12 maybe. At least he's nice with the cane twirls. Alright, one more cane twirl, give me. Yeah, nice, okay. That might have made it back up. And every speedrunner in this game has lost runs to this guy. Alright, Pecan Sands. It's actually the most unique level in the game because if you guys are familiar with Mario 64, Tall Tall Mountain, the level's kind of designed in that kind of fashion. You have freedom. There's no corridors. You have full freedom to do whatever you want in the level. Now, this level I was talking about earlier, it's got the hardest sub-level in the entire game, and that alone makes this level the hardest overall. Basically, we're going to come across a bunch of moving platforms with spike balls placed on them, and there's a moving platform that's on a time limit. If you don't reach the platform in time, that's too bad. To make it even worse, the only way to reach this platform in time is to do a super jump at the very end. And I did mention that these platforms are all moving, right? They're spinning and rotating. Oh, yeah. But if you get it, you save 30 seconds. And by the way, guys, I didn't keep track of the super jumps. So if you didn't, I didn't. Wario, please, grab the ledge. Oh no. I mean, it's not really a big deal, but it's just, I like to say that. Oh no. I mean, I just know I'm gonna mess up that sub level. Normally what you're supposed to do here is you're supposed to bounce the blocks around to make a reachable platform to the red jewel. You could technically super jump. I mean, I've done it. It's a little faster, but 100%, you'd have to set up a little bit, so I don't really bother. There's worse things in this game. I mean, I'm already coming up to the worst thing about this game. Shoutouts to Wario just dropping into the abyss. Okay, that wasn't too bad. I got a quick recovery. Let's go. We don't need to lose time. Alright, this is it. This is it. Keep your fingers crossed. I didn't get it. Man, dude, that sucks. I'll try it again, though. Okay, well, I guess we're just gonna have to do it the intended way. Basically, that last platform way out in the distance is what we're waiting for. Babying it. Oh my goodness, man. Been a while since I did that the intended way. Oh well. We had to have something super bad, so there you go. And that is the run killer. I mean, there's nothing harder than that. It's funny how that came to be, though. So one day, I was really bored. I was just like, hey, you know, I wonder if you can reach this platform in time. I wonder if there's any way you can. Well, I tried every way possible, and I could have sworn I went as fast as I could without super jump to make it. I was like, well, this stinks. So there don't seem to be a way you can do this. Unless a super jump could. It don't seem like a super jump could, but I think it can. Yeah, I wasn't super hot at the super jumps just yet, so it took a lot of grinding, and then it happened, and I was like, this means we're gonna have to implant this. I mean, there's no reason you wouldn't try because it saves half a minute. And it's because of that sub-level. I mean, it was a running joke for a short time. Everyone referred to me as a task guide to this game. You're not human. They started referring to me as the Wario World God. But yeah, we got one more sub-level, which is the second hardest in the game. It's nothing like the one we did, though. But it is very easy to mess up. So we get the red crystal early here. And then we gotta go over here and go up. There is an alternate path I could have taken right through here, but it requires doing a dash jump, and for some reason, like I talked about with the momentum from his jumps, he may not reach the platform and he'll drop. By the way, this is always scary. You gotta land on that little block. And we're only coming all the way up here just for a sprite line. Nothing more. And the only tip he gives you, he just tells you that there's 40 of us all together. Like, oh wow, thanks for telling me at the end of the game. Would have been nice to know that at the start. So yeah, super jumps really break this game for the most part. That segment, we saved 15 seconds. You're supposed to spawn the shovels, shovel enemies, and make a ladder. But we aren't going to do all that, because nobody wants to. Wario don't have time for that. So, Iron Cider, he's just a basic statue boss with hands. He doesn't have any... He does have a quick speed kill, but it's really hard to set up. Basically, when you pile drive, you want to damage one of the other hands. So, you know, you pile drive with the hand. If you're outside another hand's hitbox, just enough. It'll do 2 damage points, I call it, out of 3. The third, okay, damage points. I've never known how to really talk about this. Okay, it takes 3 jabs to knock out a hand. So when you pile drive with a hand, just outside of its hitbox, it does 2 damage points. 2 jabs, pretty much. Maybe I should start giving this stuff nicknames. I'd make it sound like it's some kind of RPG. So Captain Skull, he's like a super fast boss. Basically, I think this is super overlooked on the developer's part. But you can throw the barrels at this guy. So we're Donkey Kong right now. By the way, you know when enemies, the bosses are flashing red, you can't hurt them? Objects override that. Oh no, we got the lag. Yeah. Lag is unavoidable. Well, I mean, it is avoidable if you can exit on like the first frame or 2 of the pile drive when you kill the boss. And then you gotta get out of the menu as fast as you can, because if you sit in the pause menu too long, the lag catches back up. So we're coming up to the tail end of the game. We got like 4 minutes. Okay, yeah, I got everything. I was like, wait a minute, did I forget a treasure? No. Oh yeah, something I want to bring up, and I never talked about it. If you speedrun this game, have a memory card. Every time you leave a level, the game checks for your memory card. Every single level, if you have a memory card in, you're saving 3 seconds, I think. Because when the memory card's not in, the game will sit there and stall and keeps checking for the memory card for 3 seconds. So this boss, welcome to the best boss in history. Basically, we are going to run around in a circle 8 times. In the Japanese version, you actually fight him head on, and it gets interesting. So the only time saves here is that you are trying to control his lasers. The fireballs he spits out are random. And you can do a quick spin on the black jewel like that. It saves like 0.4 seconds. Why? It seems kind of weird, but it does. When the fireballs are coming, the reason why I dash jump is to manipulate their movement so that Wario doesn't get hit by them. Because if you get hit by a fireball when you have the black jewel in your hands, you will lose 20 seconds and have to redo the cycle again. And on the Japanese version of the game, I mentioned you can brawl him head on. He has different set attacks and stuff, and he is a little bit faster. I think he's like potentially 20 seconds faster or something. He is more luck-based though, but because of all the other patches they did to the game, you know, we can't take advantage of it, and it doesn't make up the difference in the time loss everywhere else. So, it will probably be a category split one day. Alright, we got 2 more hits, so we're almost done. If you do die at this boss, it costs 500 coins to come back to life, to respawn. anyone was ever curious what coins do. Coins basically are your lives. And you basically can never run out of money in this game. You almost can't. Alright, we're almost there. Alright. I would be ready for time here in just a sec. Nope, nope, I got hit. I got hit by a fireball. Well, I guess you guys actually got us a chance to see that. But even, I've had really amazing runs, and I've had that happen, I mean... Alright. But we're done, let's get ready for time. In time.
Awesome. That was a 1:20:38.
Yeah, not too bad. About average with all the mistakes. Really wasn't hoping to get hit there at the end, though. So, if you guys had doubts, and if you collected all the spritlings and you don't want to check the menus, this sequence right here shows you if you got all the spritlings. Shows you all 40 on screen. If you miss any, they'd be in a brick box. And that's pretty much Wario World. The only reason we collect the spritlings, though, is for an alternate ending, so... But yep.